We are live.
Welcome to Season 3, Session 4 of our ongoing GURPS Banestorm Embers of Defiance game. I am Rigil Kent, aka Phil, when we forget to use our online pseudonyms, today's GM. Before we begin, are there any questions or adjustments or point expenditures that need to be completed first?
I just wanted to confirm if adding 4 extra points into counterattack is passable.
Yeah, you still had the 3-day grace period or 3-session grace period. So yeah, that was fine.
Fantastic, thank you.
Counterattack can only happen on a successful parry, right?
Defense.
So any defense.
Yeah.
Which is a weird one, to be honest, but that's cool. Okay, so right. Well, last session we finally finished the long battle, which was not originally intended to take that long, with the centaurs, who were attacking the poor caravan. And we had 2 characters in the group that were at least temporarily dropped, which would be Ismir, who was currently unconscious and whose player is not going to be available tonight, and Zyanra, who was also taken down and knocked unconscious. Of the centaurs, one of them did manage to get clear, but doesn't seem like he's brave enough or stupid enough. I'm not sure which is the appropriate phrase there, to decide to come back, since, well, you have like a half giant on your side apparently, and a dude who can fly. Of the caravan guards, you will quickly be able to determine there are 3 of them who are still alive but unconscious, and about 3 or 4 of them who are also deceased, because they're just, you can't walk that off. And there are 2 that are completely awake and uninjured, who were actually planning on bugging the hell out, but then the heroes showed up. Immediately following the cessation of hostilities, so to speak, with the fight, Amira and Geslin, who's still stuck in his poor goat form, moved up from the outskirts of the battle and immediately saw that Ismir and Zyanra were down. So Amira was handling the bandaging, and while she's doing that, Geslin is also speaking to her in Arabic, which, of the current group, only Thorn speaks, and he speaks it at broken, so he does not follow what they are saying very well. But far more troublesome was the extremely ominous looking storm that was on the immediate horizon, that looked like it was approaching rather rapidly, and it did have some strange colors to it. Like, well, that's not a normal looking sandstorm. Although I believe both Thorn and Haruki did identify it as a sandstorm of some sort.
Well, Brom will realise that we're probably going to have to move really quickly, so he's going to do a quick once-over of all the dead bad guys to see if he can find any useful intel.
Also relieve of any food and stuff that can be used.
Let's see. So Brum is doing that, I totally did not remember to look to see what Haruki and Thorn's success by was on that survival desert.
It wasn't a lot, I seem
It wasn't
to
a lot. I
recall.
think it was like by 1 or 2 at
But
most.
it was by more than 0.
Right.
Yes.
Actually, what I can quickly try to do is, let's see, Days. Oh, really? Okay, well, that dude is. I do remember Amira failed, which surprised me, but then she's in the process of doing bandaging and such like that. Oops, that shouldn't have been Khalid twice. That should have been Omar as well. Although, honestly, it's not super. You're not aware that they will definitely also see the storm, as you know. You guys are like, basically, the storm looks like it's coming from the direction that the camels, or they were obviously heading. So these guys were like facing you now. So when Haruki and Thorn at least react to like, oh, that looks bad, those dudes will turn around and they will start. Both of them will spring toward the camels, but it does not look like they are planning on riding them. It looks more like they are like, ensuring that they are staked down, properly tethered, so to speak. And they are jabbering away in Arabic, which only Thorn has the possibility of really understanding, but they're speaking very, very quickly.
Well, some of it's going to be kind of obvious.
It does look like they are trying to set up some sort of camp.
Right. Well, I'll try to help wrangle the animals.
This unnatural looking sandstorm, is it moving into the wind or with the wind?
Let's see, where's my picture? Let's see, what kind of check would that be for him to really be able to note or determine that?
He will lick his finger, hold it up, find out which way the wind's going. And if the wind is going in the way that points towards that storm, then it's not coming at us, unless it's unnaturally coming at us.
It most definitely does look like it is moving or heading in your direction.
And does it concur with what reality says the wind should be doing, or is it an unnatural thing?
Let's see. Do you have weather sense?
Do not have weather sense.
Survival ought to work for that, I would think.
Yeah,
but finding the direction of the wind shouldn't really be a skill roll. I can pick up some sand and drop it and see which way it falls. There's lots of ways you can work out which way the wind's going.
Unless it sort of starts twirling in like a mini tornado thing.
Well, that tells us something too.
In fact, that's exactly what happens. You throw the sand in the air and you're expecting it starts to go in one direction and then it sort of like shifts and starts, not quite a cyclone thing, because there's not enough there's not enough wind to do it, but it's the wind is definitely not acting normal to as far as Brum is concerned.
Alright, so then Brum is assuming some magical shenanigans.
Am I feeling any magical shenanigans?
Right now, everybody's hair is at least standing up a little bit because, well, of the strange atmospheric conditions. I guess Thorn could theoretically give me a majory doohickey check.
Let me consult my doohickeys.
Yes.
Who amongst us has been established as having survival desert?
I have it.
Haruki and Thorn, and, well, it's less useful right now because he's unconscious, but also Ismir.
I think
Aramis
most of us
technically has
actually have it.
Aramis is very poor.
And if you have skill points, it is entirely appropriate to have at least picked up one rank, or not one rank, but one level of survival desert, because you guys have been in the desert for a long time. Not just in this run, but in the previous run.
Brum's
Haruki
going
will
to
be
pick it
dragging
up
all the
as
bodies together and kind of creating a some kind of, not a cairn, but just kind of a collection, moving them all together to just in a respectful way, but not just letting them lay where they are.
Which bodies is?
All the those of the dead. Now I'll probably separate.
Are you bothering with like the lizard guy and the the centaurs? Because the centaurs are going to be heavy.
Well, I can drag across sand.
Unless
I'm
they're
big.
been blown apart by explosions. That one's easy, by the way. A little messy,
Well,
though.
It takes more time because you got to go make extra trips.
Have we been in the desert long enough such that Brum would have got some on-the-job training points in survival desert?
You want freaking freebie points? Really?
Yeah, Brum's not actually learning how to survive in the desert. He's only going to,
pick it up.
He's a damn slacker.
The desert's not his thing.
Based off of the calendar, which Mark did a terrible job of maintaining while he was running. Because there's so it looks like we began our trek into the Djinn Lands, episode 3 of season 2 on 6th July, but I'm not sure. I would have to look at the the blog thing to see if the third episode was we were actually in the desert, or if that was just, hey, we're arriving at the centaur guys and stuff like that.
So it's only been since July, so a month-ish.
Well, it's a month and a week since then.
I think we're pretty close, but we're not quite there.
Is it 2 hours a day, or is it 4 hours a day?
2 hours a day. It seems like with the languages, it was going to end up being 50 days. I think it's going to end up being the same here.
Yeah, still got, I think it's 3 months to get 1 point. Either way, Brum will say, my friends, I do not like the look of that storm. I do not think it is wise to try and weather it. If we can outrun it, we should.
Maybe Haruki should give it a stern look.
Haruki gives it a stern look, then looks back at you. Not work.
That was worth a try.
Always Mr. Optimist. Don't son.
All right. So Thorn has made a magical awareness check, and he was successful. And it does feel like there is some strange magic in the air.
Oh, it's magic.
I wasn't going to go there, but sure, why not?
It's been done. Can't put that genie back in the bottle.
Genie in a bottle.
I don't know why, but I just had a flashback to the Ghostbusters song, I Believe in Magic.
I believe in magic.
Right. So what is Arame doing during this? It sounds like Thorn is trying to assist them in tethering the camels, although they're gonna see that you don't really have animal handling camels. And
I got equines. It's close.
well, they're a little different, and they're like gonna like grab a bunch of stuff off of some of the camels and shove it in your hands. And with your
I can live with
broken
that.
stuff, it's sounds like it takes you a couple seconds, but you think he was saying tent, shelter, maybe?
We'll figure it out.
Haruki is gathering bodies. Amira is doing bandaging stuff, and Goatlin is like right there next to her, jabbering away at her in Arabic. What is Arame doing? Arame.
Probably just going to be keeping an eye out. He doesn't have much the skills to really assist with either taking care of the animals or trying to keep Ziana alive.
Oh, how convenient.
So he'll probably be keeping watch and just keeping an eye on the storm's progress. And
So convenient in dealing death, but never keeping someone alive.
Indeed.
Well, it won't take much to determine that Thorn has tentages, so that could always be something you could jump into.
We don't see many sandstorms in Zarak. Is that something that we can outrun?
I don't think so.
Has Brum-san ever outrun a thunderstorm?
Well, when in the mountains we can find a cave easy enough. But we have no caves around here.
Here we have to build a cave. Hold that.
But if we can outrun it, I think we should. That storm does not look right.
Something to keep in mind, you have at least 5 people who are unconscious or very badly injured.
If I notice everyone's starting to put shelters, and assuming I have a rudimentary pile of people, I'll go ahead and definitely lend my strength to putting shelters and getting that all set up.
Are you going to build a wall out of them?
There's not enough.
Well, some of them are half horse, so they count for a little extra.
It's a 2x2 build block in Minecraft. 2x1 build block.
That's right. If we get buried for any length of time, we may have to eat them.
Right. So weather the storm we shall.
Yeah,
how would you like me to? How would you like me to help?
To Brum, it does look like the 2 upright caravan guards are definitely in the setup camp and suffer through it mindset.
Right, well, how would you like me to help?
Does Amira have any different plans than the caravan guys do, being that she's Fael and they are not?
At the moment, she is not really paying attention to her surroundings as she's focused on the whole bandaging thing. And there's a goat, a talking goat right there next to her, chatting, speaking.
I'm not going to get used to that.
It's probably it probably is going to be something that takes some getting used to. Here's a question I have. Thorn only speaks Arabic in broken. Is there like something about in raw about making some sort of check for comprehension, like somebody's would
IQ.
okay.
IQ -3 for broken. Accented is -1.
So have him give me a comprehension check to see if he understands what the hell Goatland is talking to her about.
Nope.
Yeah, he's talking entirely too fast. Which is odd. You don't recall Finn or Arn ever telling you about, Gesslin knowing Arabic. But, what are you going to do? So you will all, it sounds like, basically start erecting shelters. There are they have a number of tents that were part, on the caravan. Some of them they're a little larger than others. None of them are large enough to put everybody in, because most of these guys would have, maybe their own. And that is actually something at least Haruki is still getting accustomed to. Is it's stupid hot in the day and then it gets really cold at night. Although it probably isn't actually really cold at night, it's just back to a normal temperature.
Yeah, everyone's got acclimated to the hot, so the cold feels colder.
So yes, so you'll be the lot of you will end up, setting up a handful of tents. The dudes will finish whatever that they are doing with the camels, and then which is basically they're absolutely ensuring that they're properly tethered, and I can't remember what it's called, where they're with the legs so they don't bolt. They once they are done, they will promptly pitch in and assist with the tents as well. So, in the process of this, as I stated, Goatland is over there talking to Amira, and whatever it is that he has told her has finally caused her to at least sort of nod, and she's like trying to do something. And I believe Thorn is the person who is the most familiar with actual casting at this point. It seems like Goatland is like talking her through how to do minor spells. He's totally trying to become her Yoda.
And suddenly he has a horrible image of her trying to wield Smilblam.
Well, no.
and turning into a goose.
He is sufficiently sharp to know that she actually does not have magery. And this was something that actually surprised me, is minor healing does not require magery. It requires empathy or magery. And she actually has empathy, and so he walks her
I think
through
that was
how
intentional.
to. Well, it's kind of weird. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. I think it was Daniel who pointed out, who mentioned how maybe Thorn picking up some of those least of spells thing, and I was glancing through it, and there was a comment early on where the author made a comment about like 30 of the spells in Magic don't require magery, and I was like, what? And so that led me to poking around, and I discovered that. So when someone is unconscious, 0 or below, and they are restored to 0, they're still unconscious.
I think if you're at 0, you can be conscious. Although, frankly, it doesn't make any sense for you to be forced to stay unconscious even if you're below 0. You can wake up.
By the rules, if you're at 0 and you've fallen unconscious, you get a health roll every hour to come out of
every hour.
consciousness.
Okay.
If you are positive and fall unconscious, it's every 15 minutes.
Okay, well, what if you are unconscious and you're restored to positive? And
Then it's every
like
15 minutes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Where are you smelling salts?
And I think if you critically fail that roll, you can go into a coma or something. But that might be dependent on your current hit point level.
That would be pretty weird. So you guys are presumably dragging or not dragging, but relocating the critically injured into some of the safety. By the time you manage to get at least Ismir and Zianra into, I don't know, one of the tents, probably the bigger tent with the injured people, it is kind of apparent that whatever it is that Gesslin walked her through seems to have done a pretty decent job, because they no longer look like they are in the negatives. They're still unconscious, but
Does that put them in fair condition now?
I don't know. What do they show on the combat tracker to you?
It did not look.
Okay, so noted. In that case, in 15 minutes, Zianra will definitely wake up. However, Ismir will not, because he is exactly at 0. Okay, so then everybody is at this point, in the tail end of, okay, we're about to get into the tents or whatnot, and the storm definitely hits. So I believe Brian identified me ripping off the caravan to Ein whatever blah 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 blah. Einaris last time, and I'm sort of doing it again. When the storm strikes, each PC needs to make a survival desert check. Oh no, Brum!
It's health based, I think, as well.
Let me double check. Actually, this may not. Yeah, there it is. Okay. The desert survival. No, it just says straight up survival. Well, they're referring to it as desert survival, but why are they referring to it as desert survival instead of survival desert?
Well, it did come out pretty early in the process.
Oof. If it
Yeah.
is health based, that's a success. But
I
failed
don't
either way.
see anything about it being health based.
Woo!
Outstanding. I have 3 additional rolls. Let's see. Where is it? Sandstorm. That's the one that I wanted to roll. Okay, who was the first to fail? Looks like it was Haruki.
Haruki!
Give me a roll on that, Mark.
Oh, nice. A table. Oh
Ooh.
no.
Oh,
Also, well, yeah, go ahead. So make a
no.
note of that. Actually, I guess I can. Can players make notes on the calendar?
I don't think so. No, we can't.
So noted. All right. The next person who failed was Arame. Give me a roll on that.
Dang it.
No.
Oh no.
Now you feel like all the people you stuck in the eye. Now you know how they feel.
You're like, this sucks. I don't like it.
I'm supposed to do this to other people. I'm not supposed to have it happen to me. That's how the whole eye stabbing
All
thing
right.
works.
And let's see. Thorn made it. And all right. So it is Brum. Give me a roll.
Wow. I guess
Y'all
we're not
looked at
moving
it,
very
didn't you?
far.
We couldn't help but look at it, and I left my dwarven goggles at home.
So I just want to see what would have happened. Daniel, can you roll on that table? You don't. This
See?
doesn't apply, but I want to see. Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
Oh,
See, you would have broken it. So when this thing hits, it hits hard and really, really fast. I mean, you've got the sudden blast of sand, which apparently blinds a couple of people before they let the thing shut, or their tent shut or whatever. You've got the wail of the wind, and actually the wail is really, really eerie sounding. It actually is almost got a frightening howl. It doesn't quite sound like it is wind. At this point, I need everybody to make a will check at -3.
Is this a fright check?
This is not a fright check.
Yes.
ha!
Uh-huh.
I may be blind.
That's interesting. So Haruki, I also need you to roll 1d and add 2 to that.
Done.
So for Thorn, you are absolutely you completely feel that swell of magic as the storm hits. It's just like you've never experienced anything quite like that before. It's like, what the heck? And over the next, it's just like couple seconds, everything just seems really, really crazy to everyone. Haruki, your armor gets really, really tight, and you're not quite sure why.
Help me with my straps. My armor
You're
has
also
got become...
you're also completely blind, at least temporarily.
Exactly. I was like, I need some help with my straps. This
Are
armor has
we
become very confining.
are we blind immediately, or are we blind by the end of the storm?
You got sand in your eyes, so you're currently blind. Because those tents are not as particularly as awesome as a modern tent would be. So, you've got stuff still coming in, and it's smacking people in the face. Everyone will also hear at least one of the wounded guys who was very badly injured. He just starts screaming in agony. Unfortunately, hardly anybody can see where he's at. It's one of those like, wait, what's going on? What's going on? And Arame, your arm, where on the I believe you said it was the left side you were wearing the ring.
I do believe that was inside, yes.
It starts itching. It's not burning or anything like that. It just suddenly starts itching. It's like you've got insects crawling up it or something.
Uh,
And when you instinctively go to scratch, your fingers hit something that feels like metal.
isn't the ring metal?
Yeah. And you're like, wait a minute, that's like my wrist. What the hell's going on? And then you start, you can't quite see because you're blind as you're feeling up that arm. It feels like that, and the arm up to the elbow has turned into like metal.
Who of us can still see? It's Thorn.
You have no idea.
Oh.
You have no idea who can see.
All right, then I'll just call out. Hey, can someone look at my arm for me? Is there anything off about it?
No, I told you, don't open your eyes.
Well, yeah, my eyes are still closed. That's why I'm asking someone else to look at it. Oh.
Brum's like, I'll do it. I look. Ah, my eyes! I'm blind.
That's how he gets blinded.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing that I wanted to. How appropriate. Okay, yeah. So, how is everyone reacting? To the fact that they're potentially blind, and oh, right, Thorn, your back itches a lot.
I'll just aim it at the storm. That should cure it.
Sure, why not? And you will also hear Gesslin cry out in alarm, shock, dismay, something like that. Like, what's going on?
Was that what's going on? Like he's been picked up and carried off by the storm?
No, not quite. but there's some sort of liquidy sound over there.
Liquidy.
That doesn't sound good.
No, I don't know when liquid sounds are ever good.
So right now you have at least one person who is screaming like a crazy person from one of the wounded guys. You've got RMA going, could somebody could help? There's something wrong here. And you let's see, at least Thorn, since you're right now you are the eyes of the group. You will actually see at this point Amira was leaning over Zionra to do something, and she lets out a surprise. I don't want to say a squawk because that's not quite the right word.
Shriek.
Shriek isn't quite right either. She makes a surprise noise and falls flat on her ass. And then she's like looking around, going, "What the hell?" And her voice doesn't sound quite right. Can't believe you guys are all blind. I'm presuming that once the craziness happens, you can probably like rinse your face out.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I wonder if you can't treat that.
Like maybe just like a first aid check or something to get rid of that. Something else that Thorn is going to immediately notice, much to his great surprise, it legitimately looks like Brum's hair and his beard have caught on fire.
Well, I'm gonna try to put that out. Probably.
Does
Yeah.
Brum feel a burning sensation?
No, but somebody suddenly starts smacking your face. Actually, I have no idea how Thorn is trying to put it out.
Probably throwing dirt on it.
That's how Brum became blind.
The fire does not seem to go out, but neither does it seem to actually be consuming his beard and hair. It's really weird.
Unless Thorn says something, Brum's going to assume that the sand is just more sand from the storm and he's going to try and shelter himself.
Roll around a bit, you'll be alright.
What do you mean the storm is all around us? I cannot see, I got sand in my eyes.
So poor Thorn, you will hear. I guess again it's Amira. Starts crying out in Arabic again, and then she she has. I actually have no idea how she refers to you. It's probably the full Thorndil thing, but she actually calls out to you by using Thorn, which is odd.
Oh man.
And then in her accented English, she starts freaking out. She's like, "My tail is gone! My legs are backwards!"
just the storm. Calm down. Brum's hair isn't on fire. It's not real.
Wait, what? Brum will start feeling his beard and hair.
It feels pretty much like your beard and your hair.
Just because we are blind does not mean you can mess with the stone. Seems very rude.
By now, Haruki has probably removed. I believe you were just wearing the
cuirass.
The cuirass. Yeah, you feel a lot better now.
It's so tight.
And to Thorn, he looks larger. Haruki looks larger.
By about 5 inches, I'm guessing.
That's possible.
Right, well, some men are bigger than others.
Yes. Now he's 7'9". So he's over 3 feet taller than Brum. That'd be really weird.
Brum's gonna start disliking Haruki because he looks like a giant.
No, they have the racial intolerances are orcs and dragons, I think.
Yeah, nothing against giants.
Okay, good.
And Thorn, finally, you will also hear it sounds like Gesslin, but he's like, crawling, there's like this pile of, honestly, it looks like a bunch of camel dung that is like in a pile, but more solid. And to your surprise, a bird actually crawls, pecks its way out of this mess. And it's like looking around, and the bird looks at you and he goes, "What?" So how is Thorn reacting to this? Apart from maybe wishing he had some alcohol.
Not at all at this point. Now this is clearly some kind of weird drug trip, and he's just got to wait for it to wear off. So he stopped taking anything seriously.
That's okay. Well, I suppose if he wants to try to help the blinded people be no longer blind, he can make a first aid check.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can really think of.
We'll try Haruki since his eyes are bigger.
Like saucers.
And you can
Chances
totally take extra time, because right now doesn't sound like
all
you
we
guys
got.
are going anywhere at the moment.
What's the standard on that? Is that gonna? Because this isn't a normal injury.
Let's see. I would say maybe a minute to sort of wash it out.
Well, I can give 2 isn't bad, so we'll try that.
Okay, so what is that? That's 2 minutes. It takes a little bit of time. You waste a bit of water, rinse
Hold
out
still,
his eyes.
Mindone.
But gradually, Haruki, your vision definitely is finally restored, and looking
And Brum's
around,
beard is on fire.
Brum's beard is on fire.
I immediately grab the nearest source of water and throw it on Brum. Brum, you are on fire!
Again, Brom's going to go, what? And he's going to start feeling his beard.
Splashed.
And
Are you crazy? I'm not on fire, I'm wet.
It's not going out! More water! After a few moments, I figure it wouldn't take long. This is very strange. And it's got to be really weird to Brum, because Haruki will try and touch his beard and see if he gets burned by it.
He does
Awkward.
not seem to get burned. There also, Haruki, frankly, it kind of looks like a hawk, sort of jumps up off the ground and is like on your shoulder. You're having to kneel in this crappy freaking tent thing, and the hawk like looks at you and looks at the beard, and then you hear Geslin's voice emerging from the hawk. He's like, "How very odd."
Oh, Gesslin-sama, you are burned now.
So it would seem.
What has happened? What was this?
I would really like to know that.
God damn it. I knew we should have
It
outrun this storm.
does not consume you.
So Amira, well, at least it looks like Amira is like trying to walk around, but she's like clearly having trouble. It's like, you know, her legs don't work the way she's expecting it to, and she like stumbles over to where Thorn is, and like she like, you know, grabs him, you know, and he's like, "My legs are weird," or you know,
Oh, they
the
look
equivalent
nice.
in the equivalent of English. My tail is gone.
No,
Oh,
it's
no.
right over. Wait.
So at
Wait
this
a
point,
minute.
the storm has passed.
The storm is still basically raging, but it does seem to have started to get quite a bit. What's the word? Words mean things. It does seem to be reducing in intensity out there.
Alright, well, Brum will hunker down until it's passed.
Actually, since we've been splashing and dirting Brum, we'll see if we can't get his eyes rinsed out. All right, your turn, short round. Hold still.
You tried to fail that one, didn't you?
I did a little.
So it takes about 2 minutes. You clear it out, and Brum, your vision is back. And oh my God, your beard's on fire.
Holy crap! And he'll start trying to put it out, and he'll like find some water, pour it over his beard.
Everybody keeps grabbing the canteen.
What is Arame doing during all of this craziness?
Trying to figure out what's going on, but at the same time being blind, and so kind of just a fair bit of flailing around and trying to figure, you know, wait, if his beard's on fire, does that mean my arm's really metal? What?
Don't worry about it. We're just tripping. It'll all wear off.
Will it? Will it really?
Sure.
It reminds me of that time I was tripping in the mountains on some mushrooms. That was quite an experience.
Yeah, there was this time when my uncle Gilway took us out into the woods and showed us some mushrooms that he found, and it was a lot like this actually.
Well, maybe.
Unless there's any immediate dangers or anyone needs help, Brom is just going to hunker down, cover his face, and just wait out the storm.
Well, everyone did hear at least one of the wounded was screaming.
I was assuming we were not all in the same tent. Are we in the same tent?
I'm going to basically say that at this point, the PCs and such like that happened to be in the same tent when the storm actually hit, but like the wounded were also in another one of the tents. You weren't planning on necessarily leaving them alone with the other two guards, but there was the storm clearly was moving faster than you were expecting. But as noted, those of you who can actually see will eventually be able to determine, at least with RMA, it looks like his entire arm, the hand, the fingers, and it's like stopping only just past his elbow. It looks like it's metal.
Of course.
Well, you could say I have an iron arm. Because the spell.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be iron. It's more like copper, like that crappy ring.
Boy, where are you getting called my ring crappy?
Well, it was made of copper.
Doesn't mean it's crappy. It's got this thing on it.
Hey, copper is
I know when stuff happens.
semi-precious.
And now it's not coming off. But yes, so his arm is completely metal. He does seem to have like full range of motion. And obviously, if you stab him in the bicep, that's normal. Well, it's
Please
probably
don't
not
test this.
normal for you to stab.
Tink,
The
tink, tink.
screams, have they stopped?
It did trail off. Brum's hair and beard both do seem to be permanently on fire, but it's not like it actually burns. It's more like the ever-burning torch sort of thing from D&D or Pathfinder.
And his
does
hair is not
freaking go
actually
out.
burning.
No, it's just it looks like it's on fire, but it's not actually burning. So you can't light a match with your by sticking it in your beard.
As long as the beard is not actually burning away. He still has a full beard. He'll be thinking to himself, this is a look that I could probably rock really well.
Gesslin has obviously polymorphed into a different animal, and it doesn't take long to determine that Amir and Zayanra seem to have body swapped.
Well, Brum will go and check on the injured. He will shield his eyes as best as he can. I'm going to assume if you've had sand in your eyes, it's going to be several days before you can actually see properly. You're going to have like blurry, watery vision. So he'll go and check, make sure that they're okay.
Okay. Give me a straight perception check for Brom. No real penalties in this case. So he is also going to note the distinct silhouette of a person standing outside that other tent. And as you get closer, it looks like, as far as you can tell, it sort of looks like one of the two guards that were alive. Nah, so it's not one of the wounded, but he's not moving at all.
So Brum will approach carefully. He'll sort of unclip his axe.
Okay.
Are you all right there?
There is no response.
Moving closer so we can get a look. If everything's all right, now's the time to tell me.
Still no response. It's not even moving. It's mildly creepy.
Brum will go right up to him and have a look. Brum has fearlessness. He's brave.
Yep.
Or whatever.
As you get within, literally within touching distance, it does look like the guy, but it looks like he's completely covered in sand.
And just standing there.
Just standing there.
Eyes open.
You can't really tell.
Well, Brum will go up and he'll sort of grab him by the shoulder to get some sort of reaction out of him.
And as soon as you grab the shoulder, he just disintegrates and collapses into a very large pile of sand.
Well, Brum will look around to see if anyone else saw that.
And then what? Like kick the sand away?
You saw I didn't do anything. I just touched him and he fell.
I don't think anybody else is actually outside.
What about in the tent?
He was outside the tent.
So Brum will check on the others in the tent.
Okay, so inside the tent, you will see the other guy that was out in the open. It looks like he is standing over one of the wounded, and he will react to the sound of your entrance, and he just looks like he has no idea what's going on. And past him, the guy that he was like standing over, it looks like plants have like literally grown out of this guy.
Yeah.
You've seen The Expanse. You know how with Julie you had the stuff coming out of like her mouth and her ears and nose and stuff like that. It's sort of like that, except it's plants.
Does he look like dead, or is he still breathing?
Plant guy, the plant guy doesn't look like he's alive. No. And the other dude who is there, standing over him, he starts jabbering away at you in Arabic, and obviously you don't. I don't think you speak Arabic, so you have no idea what he's saying. But his body language is very, very, very clearly, "Oh my fucking god, what the hell's going on?"
They probably think he's Djinn now.
Brum will say, "Right, I know you cannot understand me, and I do not understand what you're saying, but this is all an illusion. Look, my beard." And Brum will sort of put his hand in his beard, deliberately trying to indicate, look, it's not hurting. Look, I'm holding my hand over the flames and it's not burning me. So Brum's going to try and communicate through, gestures. He doesn't. Oh, he might have the skill though. Hang on. No, he doesn't have the skill.
IQ -4 apparently.
Soldier. I think soldier coat would probably cover it. Well,
soldier would cover soldier, hold,
hand and arm signals.
but it wouldn't cover, trying to, charades it.
And
IQ -4.
Yeah, it kind of occurs to Brum that this dude actually looks like he's not as tall as he used to be.
Damn. Brum's good at charades.
I guess he is. He's awesome at charades. But yeah, so it's like you're trying to calm the dude down, and he's like, okay, and as you're doing that, it sort of occurs to Brum that the last time you talked to this dude, his head seemed like it was a little higher than it is now. Oh God, you haven't gotten larger, have you? And then one of the other wounded dudes that was there just sort of snaps awake with one of those, and he's like looking around like, what the hell's going on? And he actually looks like he is completely healed or normal or something.
When he was considerably wounded?
He was very badly injured before. In fact, he was like on the threshold of having to make a death check. But now he looks fine. The dude's like, he's like, running his hands all over his, where he was clearly stabbed before, and the two of them start talking back and forth really rapidly, like then they both got the, what the hell's going on?
Again, Brum's just gonna go, it's all okay. We will just weather this storm and we will sort it out after it has passed. And Brum will sort of camp in this tent. He'll sort of sit himself down and close up the tent and weather the storm until something else happens.
What are the rest of you doing? What are the rest of you doing?
I'm gonna be like confused, looking at my armor, looking at my again? Because I have already done this. This seems so strange. And he'll start to size straps that he can and whatnot. So he'll be spending some time with armory.
Yeah, it won't take very long for him to absolutely determine that he has most definitely grown 5 inches.
Whew, that's
pretty fast.
So he'll take some time and do armory stuffs.
And Thorn, who is absolutely convinced that nothing was wrong, everything's fine. Those wings are no longer a harness; they are actually part of your back.
Mm-hmm.
On the bright side, you've got some pretty kicking back muscles. They weren't that awesome before.
Not that you can tell.
Hey, I'm the GM. I knew your back muscles were not that awesome before. Yes, so Zianra is definitely going to be freaking out because this is not the right body. About 15 minutes after she was healed. Amira, who is in Zianra's body, that's not going to be confusing at all, is going to wake up and equally freak out because her legs are backwards now and she's got a tail. And oh my God, what is up with this fur? The storm itself will rage for about an hour total, where you can definitely feel it. It does slowly start to dwindle away. Hawkland, who now replaces Goatland, will grudgingly admit that he has no idea what just happened, and he does not like saying that at all. In fact, it may physically harm him. It hurts. And he's going to, at least meander over to Thorn and, go, start going, we may need to accelerate our timetable with you using Smilblam to get me back to normal. Look at me, and he spreads his wings. He's like, I'm a bird.
Well,
Thorn does the same thing. So am I.
Easier to carry. By the way, I can't find your harness. I think it came off somewhere, but the wings are still here.
Okay, well, go ahead and take your shirt off, and I'll hop there and look. And that's definitely where he's gonna, let you know. Thorndil, I don't quite know. I don't know how to quite tell you this, but it would appear that these wings are growing out of your back now.
That's probably why I can't get my shirt off.
So that is kind of true. And then he starts pontificating on exactly what that could have possibly have been. He's like, well, it's sort of like some of the crazy stuff that can happen with Smilblam, but this was a much wider area. And it wasn't me. I was not responsible. Make sure everyone knows that.
Well, I think given what's just occurred, it's probably not a good idea to go waving Smilblam about, make it potentially worse.
User joined your channel.
But make sure everybody knows I was not responsible.
Oh, sure. Sure, nobody blames you at all.
Hey, y'all.
Oh, I thought you were bailing on us.
It's too late for me to join in late.
Actually, it might be just in time.
Oh, by the way, your guy has 3 arms now.
No, actually, it's kind of weird. Is Ismir does not seem to have, nothing seems to have happened to him.
Unfair.
Except he's not injured anymore.
Nope, that's different guy. I was originally if he was actually gonna be here, it was gonna be him. But then I'm like, oh, he's not here.
Well, never mind then.
So weird stuff has ensued. Are you even remotely aware of what has just happened there, Paul?
No, I'm not.
Well, that storm hit, and fun things have ensued. It was lots and lots of magic. There's massive swell of strange magical energy. Lady Amira and Zianra appear to have done a body swap.
Freaky Friday.
They're Freaky Friday. So their brains are in different forms. Gesslin, who was a goat, is now a hawk.
Eagle.
I've always
Uh,
wanted a pet hawk.
Arame, his left arm is basically like metal up to just past his elbow. Brum's beard and hair look like they're on fire, but they're not actually burning. Haruki grew, 5 inches?
5 inches.
Yeah, he's 5 inches taller. Thorn's
Gotta eat my
wings
Wheaties.
Thorn's wings, which used to be like part of a thing that he wore, are now actually growing out of his back.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Strange
bizarre.
things are afoot at the Circle K.
At the moment, until the storm is done, only Brum is aware that at least one of the surviving caravan guards seems to have been transformed into a statue of sand. And when Brum's like, "Hey, are you okay?" and touched him, he just sort of collapsed and disintegrated. One of the wounded dudes he flat out died because plants just grew out of him. Another one of the wounded guys woke up and he is spontaneously and completely healed of all of his injuries and afflictions. He's gonna reveal but at least you will eventually learn it through various peoples. He had a chipped tooth and a missing finger from a battle way back when, and both of them have regrown, and rest of his teeth are super white, and they all look new, and that occasional knee pain and stiff back, that's all gone. Even
Just
his
because
his scars are gone.
just because I decided to join in today doesn't mean you have to punish me and not have my character be healed again.
I didn't get healed.
You were planning Izmir on being healed since I wasn't going to be here. It's like, you can still do that. I can go away.
No, it's too late. The narrative has already passed you up.
Well, it's also funny if there's at least one person that absolutely nothing happened. Everybody else is going, "What the hell is going on? Why is my beard on fire? Why is my arm metal? Why do I have wings? Why am I really tall?" Wait, he already knew why he was tall. "Why am I a hawk now?" And you're still nominally a little unconscious at the moment. You are at 0 hit points, so right. And I did say an hour had passed, so I believe Brian, you said that was a health check to wake up.
Yes.
Is that correct?
I thought it said automatic.
No, that
it's
was
automatic
because...
for
right.
positive.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I for one think I can rock this look. I'm starting to like it. It'll be a little bit difficult sneaking around at night, but I think it looks good.
Yeah, that's going to be the way I think that's the beard on fire is going to work. Is you're going to have a -2 penalty on stealth because your beard and your hair's on fire, but you're going to have a +2 bonus on intimidate because your beard and your hair are on fire.
I wonder what happens if you cut it.
Every so often, we just stop, forget that his beard's on fire, and throw water on him.
If Brum puts a bag over his head, does the flames go through the bag as they're insubstantial, or are they actually shielded by the bag?
That's a good question. It would probably depend on the beard or on the bag.
For stealth purposes, I'm thinking, if he could cover his beard and stuff.
if it's okay for me to ask, I know that the Cone of Honor Arab was supposed to be
Yeah.
-10. So what other changes were made?
That's it. I just changed it to -5 to -10 because it's according to Banestorm, it's a 10. I also included
more
the
points.
full description of it. You just need to click if you click on traits and you click on the all-seeing eye, the triangle, the circle with the triangle. That's the full thing.
Nice.
Yeah, you can do that with any of the stuff. Oh, right. I did forget. Gesslin is also sort of glowing. It takes a little bit of time to really note, but because of the weirdness and the fact that there was a dwarf whose hair and beard were on fire. But it's like this irritating pinkish purple glow. It's not super bright or anything, but it's just there, and it's like you go, ew, that's kind of almost nauseating to look at.
So am I just now waking up?
You are just now waking up. You are at 0 hit points currently because Amira was walked through actually using minor healing from Gesslin. So she can do that like once a day for actually she can do it multiple times. But I think it's like a -3 each time you try it the same time that day.
Oh, for the same person, yeah.
On the same person, yeah. And
Can
she's
I
not super
do-
great at it, so she's it's exhausting for her.
Can I do first aid on myself?
No.
You have already been first aided.
Oh. So it doesn't work if multiple people do it?
Nope. Only if somebody fails, I think.
Is the storm still going on?
The storm eventually goes away after about an hour or so, which is right about the time the Ismir is probably slowly clawing his way back to consciousness. To which case he discovers all sorts of weirdness is happening, like both Amir and Zionra are trying to figure out how to actually walk normally because their legs are different. And since Amir is stuck in Zionra's body, she's freaking out about the hair and the fact that she has a tail. And they're also pestering Gesslin, or at least Amir is, about how do you change this back? And he's doing the I don't know what happened.
Maybe Spielberg can help.
So Ismir made it through because he was unconscious, or he just made a will check or whatever check needed to be
You
made?
have no idea.
Okay.
Freaking weird ass wild magic, apparently. Maybe it just skipped you today. It could have been worse. You could have
Maybe.
been poor
Sand guy.
You could be poor Omar, who was transformed into a statue of sand, or poor Zaid, who died because his plants grew out of him.
Zaid?
Yeah, Zayd. They were the caravan guards that
Oh, okay.
survived.
Got it. What happened to the camels?
That's a good question. That's a really, really good question. I don't know what happened to the camels.
Oh boy.
Well, they're all still here. I think. But they're all sort of occupying the same space.
It's now one camel.
Sort of.
No, the camels seem to be normal.
When
They
does
don't
a
even know
camel
anything
pedal
happened.
normal?
Yeah, it doesn't. They were tethered outside. They're covered in sand, but it's not that difficult to really dig them out. They sort of look around, when you're digging them out, and they look kind of bored like camels do. Ooh, that's what I should do. Hold on, give me just a second. I need to create a really quick table.
So if you're at 0 health, does that mean you're like, sucking a lifesaver, or just means that if I take another hit, I'm down, or having to take health checks?
0 is the point where you have to make health checks to stay conscious if you do anything.
So
Not
I'm
after
pretty much
you've
just
recovered
kind of laying
consciousness.
down, looking around. I'm like, okay, what is this strange
Mhm.
Yeah,
stuff going on?
you really
Okay.
hurt.
After an hour, or after you recover from your unconsciousness or whatever, you don't need to make consciousness rolls every turn unless you take further injury. So you can act normal. You'll be at half move and dodge and such, but you can act normal without having to make consciousness until you take damage.
So you're just right now you're moving like a 90-year-old man, and
Okay.
probably complaining about it at the same time.
Like a 90-year-old man.
So if you notice, my miraculously my attitude has kind of changed overnight.
Well, see, you were wondering what happened. Look what happened.
I'm not as much of a
You seem to become
a-hole
less
as I used to be
callous. I
before.
guess magic did that to you.
See, there were some changes to Izmir. You just
Well, that's what happens when you look at death real close.
softens you up a little bit.
So while everyone is sort of digging out of the mess, clearing out the camels, you guys will also meet Umar, who is the dude who completely healed up, and through the various people who can actually speak Arabic, will discover he's sort of freaking out too, because of the fact that he feels and looks like 10 or 15 years younger. Look, I was missing this finger and it's back, and all that stuff. But while you're sort of digging out the camels, Hawkland is just going to sort of like, do a little flyby, and during that, Thorn, you're actually going to hear him talking to someone in Arabic. You can't make out who he's talking to, but he's clearly talking to someone because you can hear different voices.
Ooh. Guestlin? Do we have guests?
What? No? Not really.
What do you mean, not really?
Well, I was just talking with this this nice camel here.
I don't believe nice camels actually exist.
And camel just sort of like, looks at you.
This is why we're not nice.
He's
to
like
people.
a camel. Just looks like a camel.
See, look at that face.
And it's like, I get it. It's like you move away and you'll eventually hear, Hawk, Gesslin, it's like, well, what do you got to leave me hanging like that for, man? And then you'll hear a voice say, "I don't know what you mean." But there's nobody over there but a camel.
Camel that can
Mhm.
talk now.
Apparently, it hasn't worn off yet.
And curious.
Well, Thorn is aware that weird shit happens around Gessler. This camel may have been able to talk for all the time, forever.
Also, we just survived a magic storm
This is also true.
with Guestlet.
My lady Amara, are you there?
And Zianra, as far as initially, Ismir is going to think it's Zianra. Is going to come over and is like, "Yes, I'm here. You're doing fine. Relax. Don't push yourself."
I'm sorry for getting injured.
Although he might initially wonder, why is the cat lady talking to me?
That is who came over?
That is who came over. Yes.
Be like, Amara, is that you?
Unfortunately, yes. My legs are backwards, and I have a tail. And the tail sort of like distracts her because it's like just waving around back there, and she'll like jerk her head because something weird is in her peripheral vision. This has been a very weird day. You should rest. It's like Ismir might be going, "You know what? I'm just gonna close my eyes."
I'll be like looking at her. You'll just see me fade off again.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm just gonna. No, I'm done. This is
Wake me
this
when
is a
it's
weird
over.
dream."
Deuces, yo, I'm out.
So Ismir will probably be conked out for another hour.
Well, it was getting late in the day when you guys came upon these guys or this mess. So it does it does make sense to, well, frankly, camp here. Because, well, it is getting darker now.
That will be up to the desert survival people.
Which one of them is currently passed out.
Just
Woke up, saw his princess in another person's body, and like, I'm dead. Ugh.
the goat's gone, but now is a hawk, and the dwarf's beard's on fire, and I don't know what they gave me, drug wise, but wow. So Amira will say, well, it's kind of weird, hearing this coming from Zianra's mouth that she would really like to help these the remaining wounded, and we're not going to be able to move very fast anyway. And there's at least a couple that would like to at least give them proper burials that were slain. She obviously does not extend this charity toward the centaurs, though, because that whole file intolerance towards centaurs is like, who cares what happens to them?
They'd probably be mostly buried in sand anyway.
From the caravan guards, they will also try to find the one guy that disappeared, that turned into a statue of sand and broke apart. They have no idea where, unless Brum actually mention, oh, by the way,
Brum will say, This here is your friend. I'm sorry. He turned into a pile of sand.
I was going
Well,
to
at this
say, that's a
point-
pile of sand.
Yeah, well, at this point, when you came over there, the winds were still going, so God only knows where all that sand went. You might have some of him in your eye. But from them, you will learn that they were on a caravan, obviously. They were heading towards Dulihiban, which is like an oasis city-state, that is literally near the border of the Djinn Lands. Dulihiban? Dulihiban. They were basically carrying goods and gifts for the Sultan that was there in an attempt to get his permission to establish a caravan route to that city-state. Amira, while she is basically talking to them, although she's also sort of limping around because Yanra was only at 2 hit points at this point, so she's like, ow. But she is still, hold on. She is still basically jumping into the diplomancy route, since a lot of you guys kind of suck at it. From them, she will acknowledge or admit to at least a Thorn and Ismir's unconscious, so Thorn and Brum probably that she is kind of torn because deviating to this oasis city state for proper medical attention for the wounded is probably a good idea, but she doesn't know if they want to do that, but at the same time, she doesn't want to just abandon these people. So she will inquire of them. Ismir's unconscious or asleep. Brum and Thorn, what they suggest.
Who did we establish was the de facto leader?
I
Finn's
think
absence.
we had that. I think we had that conversation last time. Decided it was probably going to be Thorn.
To his horror.
To his horror.
Well, I think this our path is clear. If you wish to render assistance to these people, then we have to take them to this place.
She will lay out the map such that it is and point. It looks like this will sort of take probably a couple days. It'll take you a couple days out of your way, but if you can keep a hold of some of the camels, like enough for everybody to ride, it'll end up being basically a wash because you'll be traveling quite a bit faster.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to be careful with the claws. You're taking chunks out of the map.
This is so unusual. And she is very twitchy because, she keeps reacting to the stupid tail. It'll pop into her peripheral vision and she'll what was that?
And how
It's
is
gonna be even more
Zianra?
uncomfortable is when Zianra gets all frisky. or wants to get frisky.
She's over there just freaking out because her legs are backwards.
My legs are backwards.
She doesn't have a tail. Her fur's all gone.
Help me.
She's like sort of pushed back the headscarf and is like freaking out because, the Amira had a lot of hair that Zianra does not.
She could be thinking
Man,
this
when
is what it
Izmir
feels
wakes
like
up,
without
he's going to have a
fleas.
challenge because he needs to protect
Uh-huh.
the body of Amira from being violated, and yet also protect Zianra's, the Amira in Zianra's body because got to protect the
And
soul.
you wanted something cool out of this. Well, you got something
Wow.
cool out of this.
Now he's going
Yep.
to go, I don't know what to do.
Both of you are not fighting. You're just going to stay behind me and next to me at all times. And don't touch each other.
They're going to look at one another and sort of give that knowing woman nod and shove him down a well. Hey, not fair!
I'm going to have to commit suicide when I get back.
You're not. What?
So we are here. We were going to the city of 10,000 Pearls on Guestlands. I don't want to call it orders. So technically, Guestland is the leader of the
Expedition.
expedition. Thank you.
I am? That,
Well, you started it.
this seems like a terrible thing to put me in charge.
Maybe you shouldn't have teleported us all out here then.
I didn't teleport all of you out here, just a couple.
Oh, right. We were already here.
Yes, you were already here. Yes. Yes. So, Thorn, this would be a whole lot easier if you just use Smellblam and turn me back to normal. I could get us there really fast.
Yeah, if you could promise me it won't turn you into a slug. Although, to be honest, you'd fit in a pocket, so maybe that would be easier.
The bird cocks its head at you and is like, how do I respond to that?
Hey, you got claw feet things? Maybe you can manipulate it. Like a long way away from the rest of us.
Let's see. Well, no, it's slightly too heavy in his current form. He probably has tried to pick it up. He's convinced you'll be fine. I'm sure you'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, that's what he told Haruki that day.
I don't know. I never said that to Haruki. Although
I very
must
distinctly
say,
remember that.
Although I must say, as he's like, sitting there, sort of perched on the ground, floating slightly above the ground, because he is still floating several inches above the ground, even when he's, which is awkward. So he likes to land on things. It's like, looking up at Haruki, he's like, I must say, lad, you do seem to have gotten even larger from my perspective.
Well, but you're really, really small right now.
He's gonna spread his wings. He's like, they're not. I'm not that small.
I think my almost shrunk.
Wait.
No, my friend.
Hold
you are bigger.
Hold still there, Mindon. Let me measure you again.
There is more of you today than there was yesterday.
Ninquier's hilt was coming up to your chest before. Now it's more like at your belly button. No, you are bigger.
And something that everybody else will note, or at least actually everybody but Ismir, because Ismir was thoroughly unconscious, and Cianra, because she was also unconscious. Probably well, all right. So all the PCs but Ismir will also note that at least one of the two guard, not the one that turned into sand and disintegrated. He doesn't count anymore because, well, he's gone. But the other guy, I believe that is Khalid. He actually seems to be shorter than he was
By about 5 inches.
by maybe about 5 inches or so. And he's because he's griping and complaining, and his buddy Umar, who is now really chipper because he nearly died and he woke up and he's super healed, and is giving him all sorts of crap about becoming a much shorter man.
That's just like you, Mindone. You're not tall enough, so you have to take some of his.
I did not ask for this. Kesslin, is this Milgram still or something else?
It was not me. I was not responsible for this. I
that
don't think
like
I was responsible for this.
I think that was like a Smilblam storm. I wonder if
Ah,
Smilblam
I
even
Very
works
possible.
anymore.
eyeball the wand even more cautiously, or with more.
That's a really
caution.
good point, Thorn. You should test it to see if it actually works.
That's like arming the nuclear device just to see if it still works.
What is a nuclear device?
It's something that Gesslin used to always say. I never got it.
But just think, if I was restored to normal, we could get Finn much quicker.
Gesslin, I do not believe you were ever normal.
Well, I guess I can try this. It's going to be like trying to sort of get a hold of Smilblam with his talons. It's like, this is a little awkward. It's kind of heavy.
Maybe if you prop it up on something. Wait, are you actually trying to operate it? I think everybody needs to get some distance. Give him some space.
I actually think he's going to exclaim Smellblam when you say, "Are you actually trying to operate it?" But now I have to see what that's going to do.
If he
Actually,
starts
you don't
uttering the
think it's
word
gonna-
Smilblam, Brom's going to drop beneath the table.
I guess it would have to be a camel in this case.
And nothing seems to do anything. It's like, well, I can feel it's still magic, but I can't get him to listen to me. It's because I'm a bird. It's not going to work for birds.
Were we on a time schedule to get Finn? Is there a deadline?
I don't think we know or have established that that's a thing.
I think we were just on a sort of assumed schedule, get there ASAP. But no, we've got too many injured to haul around. If we can stop somewhere that isn't too far out of the way, that's probably the best plan. Ismir's not going to be in any shape to do anything until he heals up.
Namira will say, point to or say, and with Master Geslin's assistance, I will continue to do what I can with the minor healing. It's
That's true.
exhausting, but speaking of, we should probably go attend the other wounded there, Master Geslin. And he's like,
that was really hard for me to
and
not
he sort of
respond.
jumps up and he flies and he lands on her shoulder and he's like, "Oh, you're very heavy in this form." And they head towards the other tent with him jabbering away in Arabic. How much do you recover resting? Just sitting there and not doing anything.
One every 10.
You have to have like a full day of rest and a good meal and yada yada yada.
I mean, just recovering fatigue points.
One every 10.
Fatigue. Yeah, 10 minutes.
Or one every 5 if you're fit.
Wonder if that's going to count. No, that's not going to count because she was. Oh man, that's All right, I have to play with the. So there are 12 camels. They have various stuffs on them. With the guys that are upright, the two dudes that are definitely upright, and Thorn's very broken Arabic, you can sort of discover, it's just they have gifts and stuff like that were goods, such like that were intended for the Sultan. So it might not be a lot of use. Hold on, I have to play around and get. That's going to be interesting because now, where does the fatigue go? I think the fatigue's going to go there. Yeah, so but beyond that, they can sort of map out the route that they were planning on going. It does not seem to be that particularly or much that difficult of a trek. It's probably 2, maybe 3 days if something happens or you have to slow down for some reason, since you have the camels.
Right.
So let's see what she is able to do for a boss. That's a no. I'm going to see if she can knock herself unconscious. Because that would be funny. Guess not. Oh, right. There was only one other that was still unconscious because poor Zaid died. I forgot. Alas, poor Zaid. Yes. So, are there any additional plans for the evening? Anyone? No?
Sleep,
Yes?
rest, recover the fatigues.
Yep. I'm probably still going to be working on my armor for a little bit.
Yeah, I can't think of
okay.
anything.
Let's see. So if you need to adjust your armor, that would be armory, I believe.
Yep.
Armory, body armor, and it takes 1 hour, I think, and you need to have an armory tool set, a toolkit.
Luckily for you, that will be one of the things that is in the caravan.
All right. He'll take extra time. Let's see. Extra time 1 is time 2 times.
Yeah.
And then times 3 is 3 times, or
2, 4, 8, 15, 30.
I don't think you're going to be able to do the 30 or the
No.
15, really.
If he has the time, and his talents aren't needed elsewhere, he'll take the most he can get, whatever that is.
Well, you are going to want to rest because, like everybody else,
Right.
you're going to have been down at least 3 fatigue due to the previous day's travels and all of this craziness. So you probably are kind of tired. Yeah, you're down 6 fatigue, and you have 7 remaining. You probably are pretty tired.
Now,
Right.
that reminds me, he actually would have been injured a bit too. The large area injury, it's the average of the torso armor and the least armored part of you, which in
So I took
most
3.
cases is going to be none, so you probably would have taken 3.
3 points. Like burn.
In which case you're in the same boat that I am.
Oh, right. Okay, well, you should have said something, and she will attempt to, with Gesslin going, no, feel the force, let it flow through you, or something, because you don't speak very good Arabic. Okay, so Thorn will be able to recover 3.
Yay.
Oh man, that's getting wiped.
Did it is
Tarugi will beg off being healed tonight.
Yes,
and,
you were at -3 after you reduced your hit points with the rebuild, so that's why you're at 0.
Got it.
And she's going, and when she recovers the fatigue, and in the the next day, she's going to do that. Try to do this for everybody that can or really needs it. What was that, Mark?
if someone just wants to do a first aid on Harugi, just to bandage any of the burns, and then he'll beg off her having to strain herself for tonight, and then if and she can come back at it in the morning.
Yeah, well, he didn't get the chance to do his first aid before. Actually, I think I was doing that. No, Amira was.
Yeah, but then she got knocked unconscious, and so I think we passed the golden hour for the first aid
that's right.
for him.
So
I think it's the golden hour.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so 8, 9, 10, 11. So she will successfully manage to use the minor healing on Thorn to reduce your increase by 3. She's already done it on Ismir and, well, on herself, on Ziona. And she also did it on Abbas and Haruki. So Haruki, you'll recover 3. But she is completely wiped at that point. She's got like 1 fatigue point. So she's going to go into the tent where her and Zianra are basically sleeping, and she's going to go right out.
Well, I see that hasn't changed.
What's that?
Cat girl goes right to sleep.
This is also true. Actually, yeah, that's funny. I don't know why Mark didn't use it when he created Xandra, but there's actually a felinoid in the basic handbook or the basic
Really?
book. Yeah. So
What?
I added that, and because I sort of rebuilt Xandra, basically keeping the same but tweaking it slightly.
Well, that's cool.
And
I didn't know that there was one.
yeah, she has sleepy, so she's asleep half the time.
That's hilarious.
But can't really do that when you're hiking. So I figured it was one of those where during the long trips where Xandra, once you guys would stop, as soon as you stop, bam, she's asleep. It's like, get up, maybe eat something, and bam, she's asleep again because done too much damn walking. Okay, so everybody will crash for the evening. Or the presumably about an hour or so after, actually I guess it'd be about 15 minutes after Amira in Xandra's body does the magic-y thing for on a boss. He is going to actually wake up and he is going to freak out, and his his buddies will end up there, they're like trying to get him to calm down and such like that, but he is freaking out because he has woken up and his tongue is now like a snake's tongue.
Ugh.
So he is very much on the edge, so to speak. He's absolutely convinced he's been cursed, and he has the forked tongue of a serpent and all that.
Well, it's kind of true. He has kind of been
Yeah, I
cursed in a
know.
way.
I was like, it's kind of true now.
Well, he's lucky he didn't get one eye.
Wow, so there's only 3 of them, huh? Yes, Abbas, Khalid, and Umar. Since Omar turned into a statue and Zaid got plants grow out of him. So it looks like Khalid eventually gets Umar to not Umar, Abbas to calm down in some capacity. It may have involved punching him in the head and knocking him unconscious. You're not positive.
Renegade
Legit.
option.
But let's see, Amira is so zonked that she doesn't even wake up to that stuff because after did the calculations, she had 1 fatigue point remaining and 2 hit points. So she's not in. Actually, that brings up an interesting question about casting healing on yourself. Is it got penalties?
I tried to find out if that was going to be the case with first aid, and apparently it isn't. Or at least I never found an instance of it.
No, it does not look like. It's like the spell is risky if used more than once per day by the same caster on the same subject. But other than that, so the morning will arrive, and you guys will discover, or at least learn, that Abbas has disappeared.
disappear?
Will?
Yes. So the two remaining guys, Khalid and Umar, they're like, pretty, much trying to find him and such like that. So I guess everybody will recover their fatigues.
Did he leave any tracks?
Do you recover any health overnight?
Did he take a camel?
Did not seem to take a camel. I think you need to rest for like a full day to really do recovery stuff.
Yeah, you're not gonna heal naturally while we're traveling.
You will recover 3 points
Well,
from Amira.
Actually, having said that, I think the deal was you can recover hit points while we're traveling, but the GM probably give you a penalty.
Well,
depending on how
like
much
I
you're
said,
exerting.
Amira is going to come over there and do the with Gesslin, walking her through the stuff. He's basically acting as the equivalent of a grimoire. So since Ismir is actually fluent in Arabic as native, he can actually understand what Gesslin is telling her. However, he doesn't know magic from a hole in the ground, so he doesn't understand what he's telling her. It's one of those where he will understand the words individually, but when you mix them all together like he's doing, that doesn't make any sense.
Yep. Right over my head.
And let's see. So you are still at the. Okay, so you're actually 3 hit points now, which is better than 0. That means you are feeling a little bit better. And she's like, okay, well, now, she's going to actually. I think she's going to try that. Because she has selfless and sense of duty to the Fa'il, and Ismir is Fa'il, so she is going to make the attempt. Hey, she is successful. So that means you are going to recover an additional 3 points. So that puts you at what, 4? No, 6. Okay, so you are no longer at half move, half dodge. You're still only at 6 hit points, which isn't great, but it's definitely better than it was.
Thank you, my lady. What has happened?
Anybody who has tracking can probably make an attempt at that.
Yeah, he has it.
Oh, is he the only one?
Probably.
I thought you had it.
I have it on my sheet, but it's at a default of 6.
Okay, well, that definitely isn't very good then, is it? Let's see, by 7, let's see, that's, yeah. You'll be able to, it'll take you a little bit of time, but hey, it lets you, work the kinks out, and the fact that you're able to get up and move around is probably pretty good. But you will eventually find indications that Abbas basically just walked into the desert.
Am I able to follow?
Based on it looks like he was going the opposite way that you guys are going, and based off of what you can with a success by 7, it looks like he has got many hours head start. So yeah, you could potentially follow, but that would be taking you the opposite direction.
I'll share
Is
that
he-
information with the party.
Is he heavily or
My
lightly
findings.
laden?
Very lightly laden.
Like
So it
perhaps
seemed like he
not
was
laden
just-
at all?
Perhaps like not laden at all.
So no clothes or just clothes.
Probably whatever he was wearing, but there definitely are no there's nothing, no canteens missing, no weapons, no shields missing.
I'll relay
Um,
the
God.
information to the
Khalid
guards
and-
and everybody and say, do we want to follow after him? Obviously, he's going to perish if we don't bring him back.
Khalid
What happened
and
to this guy?
Will from Khalid and Umar, the two remaining guards, Ismir will learn that when this dude when Abbas woke up, he had the forked tongue of a serpent and freaked out because he was convinced that Allah had cursed him. So Khalid is like, well, I guess he decided to end it that way.
Well, I could probably go fetch him, but I don't know how much good that'll do. If he's
That's true. You could
decided.
fly. And since Amira actually has status 2, I think everybody has a tendency to like turn to her for questions. And when you do, you realize she's like leaning up against something and she is completely asleep. Actually, no, you probably first look at Zianra in Amira's body and she's looking at you like, what? You want her,
man.
and then you point towards Amira and Zianra's body, who is like conked out asleep.
I'll
No,
go up
she's
to
over
her
there.
and
She's over there
politely
licking her arms.
poke her
No,
awake.
she's completely asleep.
No, the other one is licking her arms.
Zianra in Amara's body is licking her
It's
arms.
not going to be confusing
Still
at
thinking
all, is
she's a cat.
Well, it's probably really funny to watch the two of them walk because Zianra is accustomed to those weird backwards facing legs. What is that called?
Digigrade.
Digigrade? Yeah, the digigrade legs. So like but so she's accustomed to that and her legs aren't doing that. And then Amira's not accustomed to that. And I was like, this is so weird.
So I'll go over to Amira and Zianra's body and I'll politely shake her awake.
And she's gonna be like, what? Huh? Oh, did I fall asleep again? And she's gonna shoot Zianra a very foul look and it's like, why am I so sleepy?
For a little while.
Why do I have an urge to knock things over ledges?
My lady,
Actually, yeah.
one of the guards simply walked out into the desert.
Why would he do that?
Supposedly, during the storm last night, he woke up with the tongue of a serpent and decided he was cursed by Allah and has appeared to have taken things into his own hands to resolve the situation. Should we go and fetch him back, or is it Allah's will?
Let's see. How would she actually... Looking at her disads. Man, Mark, you like turned her into a near paladin with these disads, dude. She's charitable and selfless and has a sense of duty to her people.
She's the perfect queen.
Cannot harm innocence and all that stuff. Her disads do not tell me anything there. She probably want to help him, but if he's made a decision...
Does she have Code of Honor Arab? Does she have any kind of religious background or
Yeah, she does have. She does have the Code of Honor. She does not have any of the religious stuff. No.
Well, the Code of Honor would not necessarily apply in this situation.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Unless he's eaten. Now, if he's eaten any food with the party, someone who has eaten a house's bread and salt is a guest, no matter what.
In this case, no, because he was thoroughly unconscious.
And so, in the country, never refuse food and shelter to a traveler who asks, unless he's a known enemy. In an urban setting, provide food or alms to beggars who come to your door, and hospitality to anyone who visits that has any kind of non-hostile association with you. That would maybe be the closest thing.
It'd be the country thing, and he clearly didn't ask for food or shelter.
Somebody here has selfless.
Yeah, that would be.
Is he Fail?
Amira.
I thought one of the PCs had selfless.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. Does Haruki have? He is not Fail.
If he was Fail, that would probably be a pointless
Haruki's
question.
not
I'm a
selfless.
fanatic, and I'm the sense of duty.
Haruki's not selfless. But he would also probably go with, if that is his wish to die, and he finds honor in that.
That may be what you're thinking of, Daniel.
Hmm?
Finn had selfless. As selfless.
I thought Brum did.
Brum's an evil spy. Oops, did I say that out loud?
He's a what? No.
No,
spy.
He does not.
As if I'm a spy.
Well, Tarn is going to, he went that way, right? And he's just going to take off and see if he can spot him. I figure...
Gesslin is going to say, yeah, that's a good idea. And he's going to fly after you since he has wings. And the entire time he's going to be trying to talk you into, when we get back, picking up Smellblam and using it.
Are you trying to boss me now?
No, he's trying to talk you into it. And then he's totally going to admit at some point, he's like, I have to do one of those where it's like, I must admit, though, I will miss the flying thing. This is pretty cool.
So, as they're flying off, I will... What kind of... how many camels do we have in the camp? And checking the supplies, what do we have available?
Oh, you've got plenty of supplies for the trip to Dulihiban. Dulihiban? How do you say that?
Dulihiban.
So I'll start getting...
Dulihiban.
So I'm going to start getting the camp, everything organized again. Basically getting all the camels, working with the two remaining guards.
Khalid and Umar.
Khalid and Umar. And just basically getting everything organized with camels and stuff like that, ready to get going again.
Yes, there are, in camp right now, there are a total of 13 camels, because you guys still had one. And they ended up having 12, or there were 12. I guess I can probably go ahead and remove all the camels. You don't really need the camels on the combat tracker, hopefully. Unless they attack! When camels attack!
When
Yeah.
camels
So,
attack.
yeah, they just spit on you. So yeah, gathering those two guys will at least immediately start tearing down the tents and chattering away. Just random NPC speak. They don't even have pictures yet. I didn't know how many of them were actually gonna survive. So
And he's
I
over there
haven't-
measuring the one guy against his chest, nodding.
Dude, Khalid is really irritated about this. He keeps griping about the fact that weird magic storm made him shorter and
Pointing at the mountain man.
No, well, he probably didn't even. He
User in
doesn't
your channel
really
timed
think about
out.
that. Uh-oh, who timed out? Oh no! Crap!
Tom Junkie timed out.
Yeah, and I just heard my
Again?
phone make a text message noise. I hope that's not Mark saying, "Oh no, I lost the internet."
Again. Well, at least Ethan's not over at that house now.
Just had a power spike, lost internet, so he should be. I'm presuming he's going to be back.
Maybe take a
He
5 minute
should.
break.
It'll just take a while
Yeah,
for
let's
everything
go
to
ahead and
reboot back up.
take a break. At this point, I need to use the bathroom anyway.
Roger,
Alright,
break.
so go on a break.
Yep.
Alright, we're back.
Huzzah! Welcome back. Okay, so Thorn and Hawkland are doing a wide circuit. He went that way. How far out are you guys planning on actually going?
Well, we can make a rough guesstimate of how far he probably can walk in the time we're guessing he left.
Suppose it depends on whether he walked straight or stopped or anything like that.
Obviously.
What is the we're not going past this point? Is it like the maximum distance that he could have traveled? You think he could have traveled, or is it like, nah, I ain't gonna go even a third of that, etc., etc.
Was there any sort of schedule hinted at as to when everybody was wanting to leave? How long do we have?
I would have shared at least how much lead time he would have had.
No, I don't think there's necessarily any lead time. I guess the bright point there is the dude does just drop off the planet or something like that. That's one of the wounded gone.
Well, the farther out we go, the less likely it will be that we will see him. So, I mean,
So
I don't have a definite idea here, but there's going to be a point of diminishing returns, so
Right,
we're not going to stay out for that long.
Rather than distance, it should probably be time. It's like, because how fast can he actually fly?
13?
That's 22 miles an hour. Is that right?
26?
Right, you double it.
Yeah.
Okay, right. 26. Yeah. So it's probably more a matter of how much time do you end up spending.
Well, I don't think he's going to make 26 hours, but yeah, I'm
not
thinking
this dude is
26 miles. I mean, 30 minutes.
Okay. Let's see. So, and how high up are you?
No, not that high. 100 feet, maybe? Couple hundred feet. It depends on terrain, obviously. And we'll look at the terrain as we're going and sort of guess where he probably walked. I mean, there are places where if it's really rocky over here and over there, he's probably not going to climb. So
No, it
we
is
can guess.
mostly deep duny desert at this point. You are just now starting to enter the area that would classify as the rocky desert part.
But even then, he's more likely to stick to a ravine or a ridge or something. So we'll follow the terrain, 30 minutes-ish.
Well, that's amusing. This totally wasn't wholly intentional, but if you look at the boilerplate,
Well, yeah.
I literally just picked the image originally because I liked it. It wasn't because I was like, oh hey, this is gonna happen. But now, irony. So about 20 minutes into the thing, where you're probably like, okay, uh, we're definitely at the point of no return. You will see, when you're probably at the point where you're like maybe turning back, you'll see something, like a cluster, not a cluster, but some odd shadows that don't quite sit right. Moving in closer, it is definitely your dude. Although he is like, sort of kneeling
Kind
and
of
face
hunched
down.
over, not doing anything.
Not doing anything at all, no.
Yeah. Well, we'll circle in case he's lying on a grenade or something.
Not quite a grenade. There's a giant sandworm. He's lying on a thumper.
Damn the spice.
He's not dead yet. He still has work to do. But I'm presuming you do eventually come in for a landing.
Like I said, circle in cautiously, but come to a landing, providing we don't see anything untoward.
Not that you see, no. Might be stealth ninjas, or desert ninjas all around you, but
that's always a danger.
Okay, hold on. I have to pull something up really quick. So, I'm going to dial back slightly with the declaration about the deep desert and such like that. It is actually still like that, but the area that he is pretty rocky. And you sort of did notice this strange formation that the dude was like in the sort of center of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like that.
Meteor strike.
It doesn't look burnt.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the question.
There wasn't an actual question there.
Oh, meteor strike. Okay, I understand now. Maybe be really old.
So, yeah, providing nothing is moving here.
There does not appear to be anything moving, no.
Yeah, so as stated, circle in, land, see if he's still alive.
You approach him. It looks like his mouth is very bloody.
Is there a tongue in his hand?
No, but there's a snake.
There might be a tongue in his hand, maybe.
We'll tap him, see if he's still conscious.
Yeah, he does sort of stir slightly, and he gives you a very creepy, bloody grin as he's holding up the tongue, and Gesslin starts rattling off some stuff to him in Arabic, and the dude just looks at this bird that is talking to him like, what the hell is going what?
Really think did he really not think his day's going to get any weirder?
I know,
yeah,
right?
I don't understand him either. That's
and he sort of half-heartedly reaches towards the talking bird, who hops back because he's reaching towards him with, it looks like a snake's tongue. And Gesslin's like, sort of looks at you and he says, this guy is crazy. He's lost his mind.
haven't we all, Mr. Talking Bird?
I am not a talking bird. I am a wizard trapped in a bird's form.
You're not making it better.
Magic is weird sometimes, but this dude, what's he doing? And the guy sort of spits at the ground, and it's icky blood, goop, and just sort of hits there, and then just it's like quickly absorbed into probably maybe lake bed or something like that. And then to Thorn's, I guess it'd be surprise, maybe not surprise, maybe
not.
horror. The lake bed blinks.
What?
And he realizes, wait, what is it? What? And Gesslin, you hear Gesslin go, oh my, we should go now. And he just throws himself up into the into the air as the ground around you starts shaking, and the guy you came for starts just laughing. He's like holding his hands up, and he's just still standing there kneeling, but it seems like he doesn't seem like he's got all of his marbles.
Yeah, which one of us is crazy?
The one who hasn't taken to the air yet.
Yeah, that might be the case, because Gesslin said, "Oh, we should leave," and bugged out, jumped up into the air and started flapping.
Namarie, Melonamine. And I will vacate.
And trembling and all that stuff. And you get airborne just as the entire area around the lake, it just sort of comes rising up, and you see some sort of thing that you're like, what? huh? Geslin's like, we need to fly faster. I have no idea what happened to that poor fellow. He was like on the wing, or like maybe on the eye. Maybe you see him falling.
Yeah, we'll pretend that's not happening. Everybody back over there at the camels can see that. Well, depending on how big it actually is.
Well, there's enough dips and stuff like that. They may feel a little bit of an earthquake or something. It's not heading in that direction. It's definitely like heading deeper into the desert. Geslin will be like, you'll come over there and he's gonna say, sometimes I really hate that this stuff happens around me. It's really not my fault.
Well, sometimes it's really entertaining. Not right now.
And you'll see this massive thing, whatever the hell it is, it just sort of lumbers deeper into the desert, and then it's like sort of not quite, but sort of like the way they're constantly showing the sandworms in Dune, where it'll just sort of dive into the sand and disappear. It sort of does one of those things and like swims away under the sand.
It's Desert Thulu.
I didn't think those really existed.
What? What don't exist no more?
And then he's going to say, well, what should we tell everybody?
Does it really matter?
It's just another Geslin story that he can share.
And this one time I was in the desert, and Desert Cthulhu showed up.
Or is it?
Don't you hate it with that?
Now?
Yep, it's Hawkland. I have a whole table.
At least a hawk is a little bit more useful. You can go and fetch stuff.
The goat could carry stuff, though.
And it could eat things.
And it was a source of food, too,
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would actually end up playing out. Because it's technically not cannibalism, because you'd be eating a goat. But at the same time,
you would logically know and rationally know that you're eating a person.
And does that mean you get all of the bad stuff?
No, if we eat him, then his magic will be in our blood.
Yeah, it's called Conan the Barbarian.
Crom, count your dead. So you will return to the camp, which has, they've mostly packed up.
We didn't find him. He is gone.
The bird is gonna look at Thorn and go, "Yep."
I'll say a quick Arabic prayer and be like, Allah's will.
Inshallah.
So you'd also of the dead of the deceased people that were present. Amira definitely had commented about wanting to make sure that they were given proper burials. Granted, they're right
the
now
storm
they're
kind of took care
covered,
of that, didn't it?
They are covered in sand. Yeah.
I'll since she's made the comment,
I
will follow
she's probably
suit,
asleep
and I'll
again.
make sure that they get fully buried and say some words in Arabic over them, and then but then I'll also get Zainara and Amira together, awake, and I will make a comment. Basically say to Zainara in Amara's body,
Cyanra.
I have been tasked to protect that body by my sheikh. So, under these circumstances, you are under my protection because of the body that you're in. Amara,
Yay!
you are my princess in a different body.
Actually, I wonder
Therefore,
what
I'm
her
going to
official
protect
title
your
is.
mind. So, I have to protect you both.
How does that work? If you are vowed to protect somebody, is it their consciousness that you're protecting, or is it the actual physical form?
I guess it depends on if you expect them to return to their physical form.
I'm hoping for the best, that they will eventually return to their original forms. Otherwise, how am I going to explain this to the sheikh?
Well,
You have
I
some
brought you.
explaining to do.
Now you have two sisters, sort of.
How do I explain it to Finn?
So I'm going to be pretty blunt with Zainara and say, Zainara, that body
Cyanra.
is Zayanra. That body is promised to another.
Yeah, go ahead. Try to. Oh my gosh, this makes some interesting.
I do. I say that during this
I'm
conversation. I say,
I
Zainara,
need to look
that
at
body is promised to another. You're
So
only borrowing it.
I don't want to be in this body. It's weird. The legs
That's
bend
fine.
backwards.
That's good. Do not abuse it. Amara, again, you are only
She's
borrowing
totally gonna yawn
Zainara's
in your
body.
face.
You're only borrowing Zainara's body.
Enough.
Man, who is who?
Yes, she's like, fine. We know what's going on. Relax. I need to take a nap.
Yes, my princess.
Why
But how
am
can I
I
relax?
so tired?
How can I relax? Oh, you guys are giving me a headache.
The nerve of these of magic.
About the time she dozes off, Thorndale comes by and kicks her and says, "Come on, Mary, time to go."
I would
And
give
Xion in Amira's
Thorndale.
body goes, wrong one.
God damn it!
I'd give Thorndale a very nasty look and say, "You do that again, and you'll find my fists in your face."
You will have to have a very long arm, sir.
Crap, is it raining out there? Wind is suddenly sounding crazy out my window.
Yeah, I thought I heard that too. My headphone cord isn't long enough to allow me to look.
No, it doesn't look like it's raining. It's just windy as hell.
Right.
Yeah, I think that wind threw something.
On the road again. I'm sure we're getting some leftovers from the hurricane.
Well, that goes to show how much I have unplugged. I didn't realize that there was a hurricane issue.
Neither did I. I'm like, there's a hurricane.
I have seriously, I have just sort of unplugged from news media right now. I think I'll keep on being unplugged. So once you return with the, hey, by the way, couldn't find the dude. He's lost. And after Amira in Zianra's body, wakes up again and grumbles a bit because she hates being this so sleepy all the time. Will point out that does mean that you don't necessarily have to continue to Dulihiban because, well, the one guy who is really wounded is now missing. Although these camels don't belong to you, so it is her recommendation that you continue there anyway to at least meet with the caravan master and at least look at maybe purchasing some of the camels. Maybe find a bigger one for Haruki because Haruki's totally going to end up on the one that can talk. And it's going to grumble the entire time to Hawkland.
I don't think this camel likes me very much.
No, that's true. I hate you.
No, it will never actually talk
Thanks.
to any of you. It only seems to talk to Gesslin, and when you try to get over there to catch it in talking, you don't succeed.
I heard that. No, you didn't.
It's just Gesslin talking to himself.
It might just be Gesslin
Changing
doing
his
that
voice.
and using ventriloquism or something. But it's freaking weird Gesslin shit.
So then we are continuing on to Dulihiban.
All right. So noted. So with the first day of travel, you are going to cross into the Djinn Lands proper. And absolutely everyone, that's moving out of the Great Desert and into the Djinn Lands. And everyone can immediately tell that something is different, although you can't quite identify what has changed. Thorn may make his magic detection thing, but you are at a -3. And Gesslin can also make a check. Mark, roll 3d6 for me.
Word up.
I gotta look at what his perception is. Holy crap. 6. Okay, so noted. So Thorn failed by 1. So Thorn is aware that it is definitely something magical, but he isn't sufficiently trained to know what it is. But Gesslin will gladly start talking about, as soon as everybody's like, "Oh, this is weird," and he's like, inhaling. He's like, "Yes, all right. Can you feel that? This is why one of the reasons why I kind of like this place is, the mana level is so much higher than normal. Also, Haruki, throughout the day, you just keep getting hungrier and hungrier.
Ugh. Constantly eating.
Yeah. Note that the desert itself, it is still unbearably hot. This is something I should have done before but kept forgetting. I'm going to need a health roll from everyone with a penalty equal to your encumbrance level and an additional -1 due to just how hot it actually is.
Well, you keep eating like that, Mindone, you're going to get 5 inches wider, too.
Don't know. Like all of a sudden, it's my appetite. I mean, listen. It's my
Oof.
sort of health
Good old
munch
Thorn.
one.
So make a note if you fail, because that is going to be the margin of failure for. You're going to be down the margin of failure. That as many fatigue points as the margin of failure on top of the regular travel stuff.
So you want us to take that fatigue now?
Go ahead. You can go ahead and do that.
Now, does that
2
stack
plus-
with our prior fatigue loss from previous?
No, you've recovered those.
So we are now fatigue loss of an additional. I'm sorry, I missed
Yes.
that last part.
So did you?
I
You
made it.
succeeded. You are not down additional there. I have to find the stupid thing again. Recalculate with camels. Right. So it looks like, based off of using Daniel's groovy overland travel with average terrain, hot weather, and the mounts. Nobody. I did not include riding successes because I think actually anybody has riding camels. So it looks like you will during the day of during the course of travel, it's like you will lose the mount is going to lose like a fatigue point every 15 minutes, while those of you that are riding the camels will end up losing a fatigue point every hour and 30 minutes. Obviously, there are 3 periods of rest, so you will cover. Let's see, about 6, almost 7 miles, and then stop to recover, and do that repeatedly. We'll cover about 20 miles a day on the camel, which is significantly better than I think it was 8 miles you guys were covering on foot. At the end of the day, when you do stop, let's see, you will be down. Let me find this. I'm trying to read. Writer. Wow. Somebody? Hold on. Math is hard.
True statement.
At 13, at 410. Wow, this is not reading what I was thinking it was. I guess you're going to be about down 2 fatigue points just from sitting there on the camels, because it's not super comfortable. None of you are really great at it. With regards to sunburn, I believe
I have my parasol.
Yeah, that's everybody has because Ismir ensured that everybody had the proper clothing. So it looks like a parasol or the shade spell. Okay. I'm trying, because it said travelers bereft of clothing in an environment with intense direct must roll versus that each day to avoid. But then it says fur natural DR is immune, parasol grants immunity, and +1. Oh yeah, you do have the +1 to health versus heat. But I guess since you are not bereft of the clothing, you don't have to make the roll versus the health or health-based survival desert to avoid the sunburn. Huh.
Seems reasonable.
I thought it gave you a
like
bonus.
you said, Ismir would have made sure that everybody would have been properly covered.
Yeah. No, you're not going to get sunburned if all your body parts are covered up. So, no, I don't know why you would have to roll at that point.
I think you still have to roll, but I think it gives you a bonus.
The thing that I copied just says travelers bereft of clothing in an environment with intense direct sun must roll versus health or health-based survival desert each day to avoid 1 hit point of injury to sunburn. Anyone with fur or natural DR is immune. A parasol or the shade spell grants immunity and gives +1 to health rolls versus heat in such places. It doesn't say anything about what happens if you are not bereft of the proper clothing.
I think it's assuming if you are not bereft, then it doesn't apply. It's kind of like having fur.
That would be my assumption.
Is that from Wilderness Adventures or whatever?
Honestly, I'm not 100% positive. It's probably from that.
Because I mean, when you think about just what we see in Arabic tribes, they are covered in light clothing, even in the heat, to prevent sunburn. So
Yeah.
Well, it's not from basic because it doesn't say a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it's going to be from the wilderness thing, the Dungeon Fantasy Wilderness thing. But I just don't recall the exact specifics.
but like Haruki's Paracel bonus, at least that additional
Yeah, well,
barrier.
that still gives him a bonus, just on the extra heat thing.
Yeah.
He probably looks goofy as fuck, but hey, there it is.
It works.
He looks weird anyway, so
It occurs to me we should totally end up having Daniel Photoshop Haruki to where he starts getting slimmer because, well, you were sweating buckets, dude. Because he's not fat, but he's definitely a very big fellow. Oh, right. That is something else I meant to do. I need from Haruki a
Uh-oh.
dex check.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You need to remember this. And there, you need to see if you manage to get through the day without doing a pratfall, dropping something, knocking something over, because you are a klutz.
And even worse. It was a 12, right? That's wrong.
Okay, you managed to not cause a complete mess.
Today.
Yeah, you need to remember that. I did actually add that to the disad on there. If you click on the thing,
Right.
where it's like you do not necessarily have a low dex. You may have up to a dex of 13. What is your dex?
12.
Okay, it's 12. Okay, so yeah, so you still have that. I didn't realize that if you had higher than 13, you can't pick up klutz. It makes sense, but Now my first thought is some of Jackie Chan's characters who very clearly have higher than 13s, but are also very clearly klutzes. But you end up making a klutz roll or dex check to get through the day.
Without doing.
Yeah. I was looking at that, and apparently the higher point one is anytime you fail a dex-based check, it is considered a critical fail. I'm thinking, ooh, yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, I think I mistakenly picked that up somewhere else, and like, oh, after it was explained to me, I was like, nope, that's a little too dangerous.
Ah, right, yeah. So, notably, something else that I wanted to touch on briefly is technically RMA has an enemy who is the snake guy, who got stabbed in the head and had brain damage, but was not dead. And his body may have mysteriously disappeared overnight. Sure, he's blind in both eyes, but that's not the point.
also now he's a rhinoceros man.
That's a cool idea. Yeah, I wonder what happened to the centaur who was out there and got caught in the crazy Manstorm.
He has 8 legs.
He's a centipede man now.
Oh, we don't need human centipedes.
but it would be funny.
He's a Sleipnir.
Would it though? Would it really?
Sleipnir Tar.
Slept there, right? Okay.
During
So-
the journey, though, I will be kind of talking with the guards. Just trying to get to know them more since they are guards.
Getting to
So
know you.
using
Khalid
my
and Umar. Yes.
so one of the few
Trying to get the White
times I can
Castle.
use my savoir-faire guard to try to improve relations with them.
Guard, is that really a savoir-faire? Wouldn't it be?
Yeah, it's just servant, really. Near enough.
Yeah. What are you trying to learn from them?
Just getting to know them, learning more about them. Trying to create a rapport with them. I mean, we are guards. Guess kind of. There's a brotherhood there.
They're potentially grumpy because they don't have proper character sheets. They feel like they're just NPCs in a PC's world. And Khalid is
I know the
really
feeling.
Khalid is really irritated that he's a lot shorter than he used to be. He was proud of his height, damn it.
I'll probably be asking them questions about Dulihiban and their caravan master, who they report to
Sadly, he
and
died.
stuff like that.
That'd be the guild master. The
Guild
caravan
master,
master
yeah.
was one of the ones that died here in the fight.
And where were they traveling from? Where they what were they trying to, where were they going? What, the aspects of the ambush, stuff like that. Just get general information from them.
Yeah, you will be aware, since actually I think you are the only one that would necessarily be aware, since you are originally from the Djinn Lands, that there are a number of these smaller like oasis cities that aren't quite they're not controlled by the Djinn, by the Djinn masters as they're quite frequently referred to, but they are basically outposts. They generally are near the border here, so they try to stay away from the actual citadels and fortresses that are controlled by the masters. And they're just from they're originally from one of them that you've never actually heard of it, and based off of their description, it's really far to the south. And they basically, if you're looking at the map, they're like hugging that the border between the Djinn Lands and the Great Desert, and the big black line sort of thing. So it's basically like a little mini guild that does these sort of caravans, and they do their darndest to eke out a living without getting caught up into the craziness of the Djinn, which is always difficult.
Okay. Well, do I succeed in building a better rapport?
Yeah, they're you already have like basically a severe bonus because you basically saved their lives. Granted, they would have liked to have been able to get here to the to this place with more than just the two of them, but you weren't the ones that attacked them. It was those pesky centaurs.
They would have gotten away with it too.
Well, it's one of those that it's like they are accustomed to having to they generally have to run away from those sort of raids where it's not just necessarily centaurs. There's lion people and not kobolds, gnolls and It just depends on which Djinn is in charge, because they all have their own little demi-human preference. Which is quite possibly news to Ismir, because the only Djinn that he's really familiar with is the one that had enslaved the Fa'il, who basically has centaurs as his elite forces. But yeah, so that's something that the rest of the party may also learn, that each of the Djinn like to have their own. What's the word? Anthropomorphic? Is that the right one? Where they like to have each one of them has their own sort of different animal human as elite forces. So there's probably one that has dog people. There's one that has horse people that you know of. There's cat people. There's bird people.
So is that about how far we traveled before night comes?
That is yes, that is correct. And with regards to Daniel's comment about the snake people, that's a case, because the snake people were the ones that that Djinn that was trapped. They were trying to free her because they were she was their master.
Yep.
So
since I'm recovering, I'm going to be practicing my some of my throwing skills.
We wanted to know. We wanted to know about that. What is up with the groin attack?
Basically,
Did someone make him sad?
No, it's dirty fighting. It's to incapacitate. It's right at the groin.
You're gonna incapacitate everybody in the battlefield that sees it.
Exactly. Knife to the groin. Oh!
I don't think it's as incapacitating as you'd like that you might think. So,
if you get stabbed in the daddy bags, it hurts.
Well, plus it was only a -3 modifier, so I figured groin would be a good strike point. As a specialty move to basically as a shock attack, because it will cause shock to a guy to get hit in the groin and have his, balls be cut off. But as for, I'm gonna basically practice on my throwing skills. So I'm gonna, practice drawing some of my knives and throwing the spear, things like that.
Kill lizards and cacti.
Yeah, kind of practice. So I'm gonna see because I do recall when I tried to reach for my bow, I grabbed the spear instead. So
yeah, you will find quite frequently when you go for a weapon that somehow the spear ends up in hand.
So I will be also throwing the spear, and then I'll reach for a different weapon. Does the spear come back into my hand?
At least once, it absolutely does. Which is probably
even after I threw it.
Okay. Yep.
So the idea is I'm trying. I'm noticing a trend here that this spear. I'm gonna practice to see if maybe I can will it back into my hand.
It's probably going to take a bit more, but I guess if you were using D&D 5e terms, you would have to. You're basically going to have to attune yourself to it. But ultimately, that will end up being the case.
So is there a new name to the spear, or is it just spear?
I don't know. What's it called? You can name it.
You haven't given me a name for the spear. You just said it was a spear.
You have to name it yourself.
Yeah, you have to
It's
name
your
it.
spear. You give it a name.
Its name is Bob.
It's like my
I'd like to
sword.
go with Steve.
It likes long rock on the beach.
My sword is named Ninquie.
So I've noticed that, if I
Hack
throw
and
the spear
slash.
and then I
Yeah.
try to maybe fast draw a knife,
Yeah, it's not
sometimes
all
the
the
spear
time. Yeah.
will
Sometimes
appear
the
right in
spear
my.
will show up. It's generally when you are not super focused and you let your concentration slip. Where it's like if it's basically it's like I must have the knife, then you get the knife. But if it's like you're just sort of, oh no, I need my weapon, and you're not thinking as super laser focused, hey, the spear's in hand. Which has its good and bad points, I suppose.
So I'm starting to
Get mad at
understand
a
that
dinner party and reach for the knife, and
I know,
spear's
and
in your hand.
bam, you got a
Uh-huh.
spear, and suddenly a fight has started.
International
He's armed in the
incident.
king's presence.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to try to kill that snake that slithered by. Here comes the ambush time. So throughout the day, Amira is basically napping in the saddle because, well, she's stuck in cat form. At least once she's going to overbalance and fall out of the thing and land on her feet, and that definitely catches her by surprise because it's like lands on her feet and then she wakes up like, what? Poor Zianra is just grumbling the entire time. She doesn't like this. Her hair is too long and it's doesn't stick out in the right places, and she keeps looking for her tail and it's not there, and
Doesn't have her balance.
she doesn't. She's like almost depressed, but maybe not quite depressed. Pretty close to depressed. As you are setting up camp for the evening, Brum, you were going through your stuff and you realize that your tobacco supply is very rapidly dwindling. As in, you're like, oh, huh. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough to make it all the way.
Then Brum will start to ration.
Also, the pipe keeps going out and you can't tell because your beard is on fire.
That is a little distracting, maybe. But you might be starting to really groove in on that. Maybe if you try really hard and focus, you can make your beard catch the pipe back on fire, or light the pipe again.
So yeah, Brum will attempt to ration, and he'll manage to control his temper.
But just barely.
Just barely.
It probably also doesn't exactly help that I believe he does not like horses to begin with.
He doesn't.
And granted, these are camels, so they're not horses, but you're still riding something.
They're even taller.
And more awkward. So he would probably treat camels as horses in this regard.
Geslin is going to alternate his time between Amira when she's awake and Thorn, and he's going to be basically spending as much time as he can trying to talk Thorn into picking up that stick and using Smillblam on him.
He just needs to use the right combination of triggers.
Yeah, he's slowly working through. What is Thorn's intelligence? It is
11?
11, so he's only slightly smarter than average. He is working through the stuff that he is aware of. Like he is definitely trying to trigger Thorn's sense of duty to Finn and his overconfidence. And then every now and then, when Thorn is very clearly irritated at him, he will try to maybe talk some of the other people into talking Thorn into it. He hasn't quite stooped to trying to apply pressure via your quirk level obsession about your parents yet, but that's eventually on the horizon.
He probably has used but I'm
Mhm.
trapped in the body. Trapped. I want to be free.
I don't know if that has necessarily occurred to him yet, but when it does, because it hadn't really occurred to the GM until you mentioned it, it will definitely start coming up when he's like, "Oh yeah, that's true. He did always let my damn mice and birds free in the lab, and it was such a hassle. I'm trapped. Help me! I'm so trapped." The two guards that are still present in between talking to Ismir and getting to know him are at a certain point they're just sort of now really giving the rest of the group a look like this is like an adventuring party. We've got all of these weird characters.
Maybe we should tell him about that dark tower out near our hometown.
Oh God, what if we're regular NPCs? Although that would explain that guy and that guy and that guy.
Why can't I remember their names?
No, they keep staring at Haruki in, well, I don't want to say terror because that's not right. Maybe awe because he's so big. They're not quite sure what to make.
Which will make Haruki completely uncomfortable.
Especially considering you have no idea what they're saying when they're talking. They're not quite sure what to make of the talking bird. Even when he will.
Was this the two guards?
Fly over, yeah. This was it Khalid and Umar. Even when the bird will fly over there and land on their little saddle and sit there and chat with them for a while. The dwarf is a dwarf, although the hair is weird. The swordsman guy, yeah, they've seen that before. The winged dude, that's also new. Interestingly enough, they seem to steer very clear of, well, in this case, it's Amira, but more they're steering clear of Zianra's body. They're very much eyeing her like they're afraid she's going to attack them or cut them or eat them or something.
That's okay with me. If I notice that, I'll probably help it along.
Okay.
So paranoid.
I know, right? So the next morning. Oh God, what is he?
I would try to
making me look
also
at?
It's a
tell
long,
them
it's a
about,
long video.
if I'm understanding their conversation, I notice that they're talking about Haruki or anybody with fear, I would speak to them and say, hey, you don't need to be afraid of these guys.
I've dropped that video in our Discord for later perusal. I thought it was pretty funny.
Noted.
Well,
All right.
that's the scout troopers in that episode of Mandalorian.
Yeah, someone's recut it and turned it into an interesting skit.
Okay, so the next morning, everybody will get up. Amira will do the, with Hawkland walking her through that, try that stuff again. So Ismir will recover 3 hit points. She can only do the minor heal, but hey, 3 hit points is 3 hit points. It's better than none.
Should be close to topped off by now, I think.
He is now only down 1.
And our fatigue all got recovered during the night?
Yes. Although she's promptly down 6 again because she's not super great at this. Although she's used it enough, she might actually be able to improve it. Okay, so you basically before we even get started there, Haruki, I need your daily klutz roll. Let's see.
So what will happen?
Unless he's failing the klutz roll.
So we will be getting the camels ready, and he will start to load something and turn, slip in some sand, and grab the straps for the camel and pull the camel over on top of himself, spilling all the goods and all that. And there'll be a struggle with the camel, and he'll get some probably bruises.
He's not positive, but he may have heard
the camel
exclaim like, "Ow!"
I think you're doing it wrong there.
Roll the klutz roll, or did you fail the klutz roll?
I failed it.
He voluntarily failed it.
Yeah, that is something with your disads. If you're looking at, and it's like got a control thing, like for example, you have honesty 12 or less, so that means when a 12 or less, the honesty is follow the law, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you get to a point where it's like, oh man, we really need to break the law here, you can willingly go, nope, I failed my honesty check. I can't get involved in this, guys. Brian loves doing that. He loves, going, oh yeah, I got this disad, and I'm going to willingly fail it, and I'm going to fail this one as well.
It'd be interesting to find the situation where you can actually fail all of your frequency checks in the same action.
Challenge accepted.
Let's see. I'm looking at what has Brum got? Bad temper, greed, miserliness, overconfidence. Yeah, he could.
That
probably,
shouldn't be that hard.
That shouldn't be that hard. Let's see. RMA has curious, impulsive, overconfident. Yeah, that shouldn't be hard.
Nope.
Wow, Ismir only has the one that is got frequency. Curious, honesty, impulsive. Wow, we got a bunch of curious people. Bunch of curious people.
Well, I'm staid, which means I'm kind of incurious.
Yeah, that's interesting. That would be kind of amusing. All right, so okay, so we'll need the daily health roll with the encumbrance penalty and the -1. simply due
Is
to the heat.
is encumbrance penalty? Where do you find that?
What is your encumbrance level?
I'm at light.
So that's going to be -1.
So -1 for encumbrance, -1 for heat, +1 for parasol, +1 for fit.
I think that is correct.
Now, given that
That's
we're all
straightforward.
riding here as well, you're probably not encumbered.
Yes, and it's like failure means spending that day down as many fatigue points as the margin of failure.
And I'm eating like a monster.
You are eating quite a bit more than, and you are aware of this as well, that you shouldn't be this hungry. You're not sure why you're this hungry.
Eating twice the amount of food I should be.
Fortunately, this caravan used to have like a dozen people in it.
My friend, you are the monster.
He's the monster. I'm here to kill your monster. I need to watch that again.
Come closer, tasty man.
And late in the day, you will arrive outside of Dulihiban. And the first thing you will note is it is very, very quiet.
Too quiet.
It is too quiet.
Oh, tower. I'm going. Although I can just fly up there. It takes all the challenge out of it.
Well, you
But
can
you have
still
a place
climb
to
up.
perch. You can perch.
That's right. You can be the GDB, man.
Actually, do our caravan people, do they have tobacco in their supply?
That is a really good question. Give me a universe reaction roll.
God help you.
They have something like tobacco.
Oh boy.
I love how everybody's like, "Oh yeah, do it, Brum, do it."
In that case,
How desperate does he get?
when Haruki pulled the camel over with all the stuff on it, it actually had Brum's tobacco, and his tobacco things
Oh no!
spilled out into the wind and in the sand. So Brum will take them up on their light tobacco stuff.
But he's gonna possibly hold off for smoking it initially.
Well, he'll ask.
Seems a little wacky.
So you say it's not quite tobacco, but it's like it. What is there anything special about it?
The two guards just give you a look and like smile, like no, nothing at all.
What are you talking about? He's got a beard and hair that are on fire. He's intimidating looking. Let's see. They will probably, it'll have to be through a translator, because they don't speak English at all. But they're going to try to explain that.
It is so much better if it's done without the translator. So
Okay,
we'll just try and gesture.
Yeah. They're what did we determine gesture was?
It's IQ minus 4.
Ooh. This is gonna be awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So they get across that it's something that you smoke.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they get across.
Yeah, I could
it's something
totally
you
see
smoke.
this too.
And it's like that with that kind of failure, it's probably like, it is tobacco. Don't worry.
It doesn't smell right, but it's better than nothing. I'll try it. How much for it?
That'll take
First
a bit
hit's free.
more. That'll take a bit more exchange before they realize that you're trying to buy it, and they're like,
I'll pull out some coins.
They're like, no, dude, no. Clearly, they're still
Puff,
thankful
dude.
that you saved their lives.
I guess that counts as a stimulant,
What?
assuming it's what I was expecting it to be. That being hashish.
Hesh, I think is what we kind of.
I am going to have to look that up.
Well, I was just looking it up, and apparently it's basically just like weed.
Yeah.
According to the wiki stuff. So I think that's a stimulant.
Unless
in GURPS terms.
Unless it's more entertaining. But I'm going to keep that in mind, and probably bring that up the next time. Okay, so yeah.
I insist.
Yeah.
Here, have some money. I have to give you some money for this. So Brum will give him some coins, and he'll sort of force them to take it. He'll put it in their hand and close their hand, and then get up and walk away. And when we stop for a break, he's going to light up his pipe.
Shit, right? Chakira. Sorry.
What are you talking about? He's going to end up actually talking to the frickin' camel.
I'll never remember it.
Instead of
It's the
talking
wrong
with
one.
an accent, he'll lose his accent when he speaks.
Yeah, let me look into that. Okay, yeah, well, there's that. I didn't see that. What is this? Potent ones, amphetamine. Okay, doesn't sleep and overconfidence. 12 minus health hours. That's not very much for him. That's like 1 hour. That's terrible. Oh, he loses twice the fatigue recovered. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out exactly what it does, but it's gonna be entertaining. We know that. But as you approach the city, as noted, it is deathly quiet.
Yeah, so
Is
I
this
was
normal?
serious about the tower, so I am gonna fly up there and feel bad about it. And in the process, probably see if there's actually something going on in town.
So if we notice it is really that quiet, I'm gonna make sure everybody stays back. It'd be like definitely working with Thorndale to see what's going on.
So I have a pseudo image here. As soon as Thorn gets airborne, he is going to be able to see that a sizable portion of this town is just completely wrecked. It looks like there is destruction really deep in the city, like maybe like in this section there, and whatever it is that happened blew outward. So as the characters are approaching from this direction, they don't see that yet, but at about the let me see if I can't pull a mark here. Well, at about the midpoint there, the buildings have been like basically blown out and foobarred. But there are still buildings. There are still buildings standing and stuff like that, and it still seems relatively intact. It's completely, utterly quiet. And
So
so
there's
you're going.
nobody,
So you're going.
no
so you're going
people
to
at all.
You do not initially see any people. No.
Alrighty.
Give me a perception check.
I could do that.
Can you? Can you really?
I can. Maybe not a good one, though.
Yeah, you do the sweep. You do not see anything moving. Maybe some birds, but none of them seem to really want to land here. Can't imagine why.
Well, I don't see anything moving, so whatever's going on here has already happened. So I'll go back and inform the crew.
And when this is translated to Khalid and Umar, they're definitely, what?
Be at peace. My ladies, let me go forward and scout ahead.
And Amir is going to go, what? Huh? I'm sorry. Ah, Zianra, why am I so sleepy?
Yeah, right. You go do that. I'll stay back here and watch things, huh?
All right.
He's all snacky now with the Haruki.
He is totally snacking with Haruki.
Yeah, Haruki, you got some of that that jerky there?
Oh, I'll get off the camel and I'll stealthily enter the city.
Fear and loathing in Dulihiban.
Right, so you slide off the camel and you start forward, and Thorn, you're standing there, and you see Zianra, in Amira's body, clearly about to slide off the camel and start sneaking forward as well. But she sort of lands funny, and then it's like pauses with that.
Hey,
Oh.
Do I notice this?
No, you've already snuck forward.
Yeah,
She's
you-
like,
You
but
took
she's
off.
like, it clearly triggers in her brain. It's like, oh yeah, and she gives you a very foul look. So Ismir, you enter into the through the gate, and straight away it's like obviously that there was a sort of immediately past it. Actually, I guess with my map it's not quite the same, but the map is just a sort of impression, because just looking at the actual picture, it looks like they have like a bazaar that is like right there once you enter. And the first thing that you note as you come in there is something crunches underfoot, and you realize, oh, that's weird. That's like glass or something. And then you realize that there are a lot of, it looks like people that are standing around, but they look like glass statues.
Well, that's not cool.
They said they wanted more transparency.
Where is this at? I mean, is this all around, or where am I in the city?
If you're looking at the map, not the map, but the establishing shot, right there in just past the gates, there are those tents, and that's like a little bazaar where they would sell stuff. It's a little market area. So
Okay,
you see that, and as you get a little closer to one of them, you see its eyes move toward you.
Oh,
And with that is where we're going to end it for the night.
that's creepy. super creepy.
So, if you are watching this and have questions, corrections, general complaints, suggestions,
I'm
etc.,
playing this and have questions.
feel free to leave a comment. Find us on Discord. Thank you for watching, and Olympus bids you good night.
Good night, stream.
Go away now.